So this video is specifically dedicated to the Spectra S2 versus the Medela Maxflow. There are some major differences between the Spectra and the Medela pumps, but this is one of the biggest ones. It is speed. So I am showing it in ×2 speed just for the sake of this video. If you really wanted to, you could probably slow it down by half and watch it in real time. There's only one part of this video that is not sped up. On the Spectra, it says 70 for the cycles on letdown setting, which means that's supposed to be 70 pumps per minute, but I only got 67 when we counted it out for some reason. So I take the same setup and I go over to the Maxflow and I put the vacuum meter on it just to count out how many pumps per minute is on letdown setting. It was a little harder to make sure that I was on the highest level for the Medela because there is no screen on this pump. You just have to push the buttons until it's all the way up. Speed is just one of the major differences between Medela and Spectra pumps. The other one is going to be the type of vibration. Medela is much more of a tongue roll type of vibration, even though Spectra also has kind of a tongue roll type of vibration. It's not as long, if that makes sense. They're very it's harder on the Medela, like it's got a harder vibration, but it's much faster. And the last huge difference between Medela and Spectra is how long they last. Okay, if you tip your Medela on its side, it loses suction within like 60 seconds, even if it's not running. If you put it on its side, the oil in the motor runs up into the vacuum chamber and it will actually plug the valves in there that hold the suction, so it loses a lot of the suction. In comparison, Spectra normally lasts about 1,500 hours, which is about 6 months of exclusively pumping, and then Medela lasts a lot shorter of a time before it needs to be taken apart and cleaned or replaced. And that's a good month or two for the Medela, and it's good 6 months for Spectra if you're exclusively pumping. So like I've said time and time again, people respond differently to different pumps. I know a lot of people respond better to the Maxflow, me included. I actually do respond better to the Maxflow. Normally, the people who respond better to Spectra respond to a slower pump speed as well as a lower motor type vibration rather than like a harder, faster pump. So Medela is harder, faster, and Spectra is lighter, softer vibration and slower kind of pumping. So as you can see on the vacuum meter, Spectra is on the higher end between 140 and 160. So it's around 150, but it's like on the higher end. So it's almost like, I'd say 155 actually. So, and then the Medela, when it's slowed down, is also between 140 and 160. And that is going to be on the lower end of 140 and 160. So I'm calling it like 145 because it isn't 140, but it's lower. So it's in between 140 and 150. One thing to keep in mind is that with Medela, you cannot make it go any slower than this.